So my name is Nathan Wheeler. I am an Irish sculptor and artist. What I do is I make and replicate derelict buildings from all over Ireland. I love the way they look. I hate the fact that they exist, but there's something really magical and beautiful at looking at the decay and the destruction and nearly the wanton neglect of these buildings all over Ireland. And they have a beauty all of their own. It really inspires me to try and show that in a little way. I got into this in a bit of a weird way. So I started doing a couple of small little dioramas, a couple of little models, nothing too exciting, and I thought this is gonna be great fun. I'm gonna have great crack doing this. And then my father-in-law, his mother died, and the family home was basically sold. And the father was obviously he was a little bit sad about the fact that he'd lost the family home that he grew up in. And he had pictures, but he'd nothing really to have a memory attached to it. So my wife says, would you not make him the house? You could do that, you have those skills. So I gave it a go and I built the house. And I worked off all these little pictures and I replicated the house perfectly. And then Christmas Day, he opens it up and the poor man bursts into tears. He was completely overcome. That's really inspiring. That's more than a gift, it's preservation of a memory. And that was really, really powerful for me. And I decided, well, I'll make some more. And people came to me with their stories. A lot of time is spent at the computer, to be honest. There's designing the building, and I generally go from pictures. Either people give me the pictures or I use Google Maps, and I'll take a full look at the building, and then I decide, well, what do I actually want to include, which is usually pretty much everything. So from that, I'll take a bunch of screenshots, I'll realize all the different components, and from that, I need to measure everything to make sure it's to scale. So a lot of times I'll have never seen this building in person, and I'll be completely working from pictures. I think from an artistic perspective, when you go to see a building that you've built and you've worked on and you've added in every chip of paint, every broken tile, every broken window, and you've modeled it as accurately as you can, and then you stand there in front of it, there's always going to be little bits that the pictures didn't capture or things have changed slightly. And I think the one thing about my models is that they are a picture in time of the building as it is. The next day, after that picture was taken, the model is out of date. The building has changed. So sometimes I see the building and I'm like, that's changed, that's different. And it's usually gotten an awful lot worse, which is pretty sad. But at the same time, you're left going, the model isn't perfect anymore. It's not a perfect capture as it is. It was a perfect capture as it was on the day those pictures were taken. One house turned to 2, turned to 3, turned to 10, and it really just kind of got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then eventually I kind of pivoted to dereliction and discussing that side of things, and discussing about essentially why we have so many derelict buildings across Ireland and why people walk by them every single day. And we look at these huge buildings and we do nothing. We don't acknowledge that they exist. We just accept them as part of our normal day-to-day lives. And then I started making them smaller and bite-sized, and then suddenly people became very interested in the issue. They were excited to talk about, why are these buildings like that? And that's the art. It's art as activism, or activism as art. It's showing a really tangible issue of homelessness, dereliction, vacant properties in a small enough form factor that people can actually understand and take seriously. And that's what kind of makes me do it. What I'm doing is essentially art activism. I didn't intend for that to happen, but I think in an awful lot of situations, one doesn't intend for their actions to inevitably turn into something else. It hasn't always been me pushing for it, I simply wanted to talk about one thing. And art has a life of its own, and it takes on its own life, and it's going. And I'm just kind of following along. So for me, I plan to work on a number of buildings all over Ireland. Some of them are famous landmarks, some of them aren't. Some of them are humble cottages that have just fallen down because of sheer bad luck. Others are long, drawn out legal battles over why they're there. And I just want to tell that story. Hopefully I'm aiming for an exhibition in the next few years and kind of put that on and show people all these buildings in all their glory and draw attention to that. After that, I'd love to show old parts of Dublin to connect us not only with our city, but with a past that many of us don't remember.